So I've noticed that you've done a couple of Casio F91W reviews on your channel. And being a huge fan of your channel, I wanted to know, did you happen to catch any of my Dead or Alive, the Casio Chronicles miniseries? And if so, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I have watched a couple of that series you made about the F91W. Big compliments on your channel, by the way. You really have got a production quality much better than mine, and you've got a real kind of style developing. When I started YouTube, there weren't all that many watch channels. Now there are dozens and dozens. I mean, the whole community has grown enormously over the last 2 years, which is a fantastic thing. Everybody finds their own little niche. Everybody finds something that they're good at, something that they enjoy, something they're passionate about, something that they can relay that passion to their audience, and they find their own little niche. And you're clearly finding your own niche with those style of videos. So if that's something you enjoy, I certainly enjoyed it when I watched it. So keep going with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so happy that you were able to watch a couple of the episodes. It's really an honor to me, and I do appreciate the feedback. Which leads me to my next question, which is, do you follow other YouTube channels? And if so, who in particular do you watch?
Yeah, I definitely watch other YouTube channels. Like I said, I started watching TGV, still watch his videos, though I'm not quite sure where his channel's going to go in the coming months and years. There's a bit of a question mark about that at the moment. Teddy, Time Teller, big fan of Jody. I certainly looked at Jory's channel a couple of years ago, and he kind of brought me out of my shell a little bit as well. I thought, well, if he's kind of in your face, up front and animated, then that's certainly something that I could do, because I am quite animated, hands all over the place and so on. I watch a lot of smaller channels as well, and like I said, there's so many channels popping up. I used to say to everybody should have a YouTube channel, and I mean it. I think it's a great outlet, it's a great creative outlet. I know you paint, or you used to paint anyway, but I think for a lot of people it's something that they can put some time in, put a little bit of themselves into. And if watches are a passion and a hobby, then the more channels the merrier. So I do try and watch as much other watch content as I possibly can, including Archie Luxury. I know he's a bit of a polarizer. I kind of dip in and out of Archie, but he can be seriously entertaining at times. But yeah, I watch a lot. I watch a lot of the big channels, but I also watch a lot of the smaller guys as well, because it is always nice to see new people coming in and see what they do. See what they do differently to me, see maybe what I could be doing from other people. Bruce Williams, I kind of picked inspiration from him as well. Some of his outdoor footage, I added that into my videos as a consequence. So you kind of pick and choose, or certainly I've got inspiration from other YouTube channels as well. So I hope in turn I have inspired a few in my own right.
So I've noticed that you've actually reviewed more Seikos in your channel than I think any other watch. Is Seiko truly your favorite brand, and if not, what is?
So I have reviewed a ton of Seikos. I added it up. I've lost count now. I think I bought 20 Seikos over the last 3 years. Presage models, really all the kind of key stuff, their divers, their fives, up to the sort of Sarb, the Sarb 033 that I'm wearing today, the Sarks. I must have bought at least 20 Seikos. They say that if you want to get hits in YouTube, you put Rolex into your video title and make contents about Rolex, but that's not the end of the market that I'm interested in. It's not the end of the market that the channel is concentrated on. So for me, it's Seiko. You know, Seiko is a brand that always gets a lot of views, and Seiko is a brand that has real qualities. You know, you don't necessarily get the best value, the best kind of specs for your dollar with Seikos, but you probably get the best brand name that you can get at the price. So I've definitely been keen to see what's on offer. They're almost like a reference point at this end of the market. You know, if I get a micro brand in, it's, you know, what Seiko can I refer this one back to? Because a lot of people use Seiko as the benchmark, and I guess I'm no different in that sense. But I wouldn't say they were my favourite watch brand. I've hung on to 3 of them. I've hung on to the Sarb, the SKX 013 and the SKX 007, but I've sold all the other ones. I guess, you know, I can't keep that much money sitting in the house. I sell to buy other stuff. So Seiko, perhaps not my favourite watch brand, but a brand that's really important, and a brand that's really important for my channel. Casio are one of my favorites, as discussed earlier on. You know, genuinely incredible value for money, diversity, and great prices. And Omega, I've had Omegas in my collection for a long time, since I was in my teens. My dad handed me down an Omega when I was about 15, I think, and I've still got it. They weren't as expensive in those days as they are now. I bought a Seamaster in fantastic condition 20 years ago for £250. I mean, you couldn't buy the same watch 20 years on for that price. You couldn't buy a scruffy Omega anything for that price. But Casio and Omega, definitely two of my favourite brands. Seiko probably number 3 in terms of where they fit into my current collection.
So congrats on your purchase of the Breitling Navi Timer. That is an awesome piece. It's actually on my personal Grail list of watches. Breitling happens to be my favorite watch brand of all time. So I have a couple questions. A, when you get sick of it, would you consider selling it to Average Joe? And also, what would be your personal Grail watch?
Now the Navitimer is I think I've got 5 or 6 watches in my collection that I will never sell. I've got 2 Omegas that I've had since I was in my teens. I have got my granddad's watch. I have got the watch that my wife gave me on our engagement. And I have got that Breitling Navitimer. That was actually a gift from my father again on my 40th birthday. And I don't wear it all that often. It's a bit big actually for me. It's a 43, which is a little bigger than I would normally choose to wear, and I'm a bit precious about it. So it's coming up to 5 years old. In fact, I think it probably is just about 5 years old this month, and it still looks mint. It is still pristine, and I'm happy to have that as my occasional wear, my kind of big occasion piece, and I love it. It's just a stunning watch to look at, and I'm really glad I got one before they started changing them. I understand why they're changing Breitling, because maybe they were being left behind, or they were losing their traditional base and decided to modernize, change some of the designs and try and capture a new type of the market. I'm not sure if it's worked for them or not. You know, I guess time will tell. Breitling, I saw a cartoon once about the kind of matching the watches to the people, and Breitling was for used car salesmen. So maybe there's a bit of the used car salesman in both of us, Joe. I don't know about that, but I think they are a great brand historically. I love my Navitimer. I bought an Aerospace last year, but I then sold it again because it was a bit too big. So I've got my eyes on a vintage Navitimer. I would love to add one of those into my collection at some point, but there's so much money, I'm not sure if that will happen. But no, I'm sorry, I will not be selling that Navi to you or to anyone else. It is one of half a dozen dead set forever watches, keeper watches in my collection. Grail watch, I don't really have a Grail watch. It's not a term that I use. I don't make, Grail watch videos. I've got that Navitimer, I've got an Omega Aquaterra. I don't really need anything else. It would just be a lot of money sitting in a box in a rotation, and I'm not at a point in my life where I can have more money sitting in a box on rotation. So I'm very happy with those 2 watches. I guess if there's a watch that the kind of one watch forever, or a watch that maybe I should have bought but probably won't buy, an old 2-line Submariner. I've always admired the subs, the kind of classic clean dial, something with a date. I'd probably go for the date version, but they're so expensive. They're more expensive than the new ones these days, or close to it. I just couldn't bring myself to spend 10, 12 Aussie $1,000 on a watch that was 15, 20 years old. So I guess a Submariner would fit into that kind of little triptych really nicely, but I can't see it happening, and I'm okay with that.
So you're saying I have no chance at your Breitling Navitimer. All right, I figured I'd give it a shot. But if I gave you the opportunity to create the perfect watch with an unlimited budget, what would it look like?
I don't think there is such a thing as the perfect watch, because stuff that is really amazing tends to be really expensive, and therefore it's not perfect. And I haven't found anything. I mean, I don't think I've reviewed any watch where there hasn't been a moans and niggles section. There hasn't been anything that I've just been like, no, I wouldn't change a thing on this, because you know that's life. You when you find perfection, maybe you give up. Maybe that will be the last video I ever make if I do find the perfect watch. I think you know you can get all the right specs in a watch for $500 or less these days. Some of these micro brands are just making fantastic watches. Really, there isn't much need, there's no necessity to go past the Seiko NH35 as a movement. It does everything you could want it to. Sapphire crystal with anti-reflective undercoating, bit of coated stainless steel, a decent bracelet and clasp. You know, you can find them. I've reviewed plenty of watches that tick all of those boxes and really will be a watch for life if you so choose for less than $500 US. I've thought many times about starting a micro brand. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's something I'll do when I do finish studies. Maybe I'll have a bit more time. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of money to get a company off the ground, and there's a kind of big risk involved. So yeah, let's see if that happens. But I don't think it will be a super expensive watch. I won't be doing, you know, limited release tourbillons. No real need to have something costing more than $500-600 that does everything. Nice clean design, ticks all those boxes in terms of specs. That would be a great watch to own. That would be the ideal watch.
So for my last question, this is for the smaller channels out there like myself. Do you have any secrets to success to any of us smaller YouTubers in regards to getting to where you are right now?
Just keep going. Just keep going. I decided quite early on to make 3 videos a week, which is a pretty hectic schedule, but I have stuck with that religiously every week for the last 3 years really. And there was no kind of great trigger. There was no one video that, you know, launched my channel. It's just steadily, organically ticked up and up and up over the last 3 years. So if you're enjoying what you're doing, or anybody out there, if it's a passion, if it's something you're interested in and you enjoy the creative process of making the videos as well, then just keep going. I'm not saying that you'll get to 100,000 subs. I have no idea why I got to 100,000 subs. I honestly thought it would tap out at about 20 when I started the channel, but it hasn't. It just kept going, and long may that continue. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Find your own style, find your own groove, find your own niche, be yourself in front of the camera. People, I think, really appreciate that, and just keep going.
Well, Jody, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with me and to really share with the viewers a little bit about yourself that you don't necessarily share on your channel. So I hope that even some of your subscribers learned something new today. And I just wanted to thank you so much. I'm extremely honored to have you on the channel. Thank you very much for taking the time.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Joe. It's been a real pleasure to chat to you today. All the best for your channel, and just generally all the best. Thanks very much.
Well, guys, there you go. That is my interview with Jody from Just One More Watch. This was definitely a career highlight for me on the channel. I just want to thank Jody once again for sharing some things that he normally wouldn't share on his channel. So I hope that you guys learned a few things from this interview, and maybe have a new appreciation towards Jody. Really a fine gentleman, really humble guy. And when I reached out to him to do this collaboration, he was more than happy to do so. And look, I mean, the guy has 150,000 subscribers, and this is really, honestly, a full-time job for him at this point. Even though he does have another career at the Opera House, he does this pretty much full-time. So for him to take time out of his busy schedule to do this really means a lot to me. And again, Jody, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. So guys, I want you to remember one thing, that there's always time to be kind to one another. Please take care of each other. And also, please subscribe to the channel. It really would help support Average Joe Watch Reviews and for me to continue to make content for your viewing pleasure. And also, if you could, hit that notification bell. It'll alert you as to when I upload a new video. So, I want to thank you guys for joining me. God bless, and I'll see you next time on Average Joe Watch Reviews.